Hello everyone, in today's video I'll be teaching you about remote events and bindable events. So what I'm going to do is I would recommend always putting remote events inside replicated storage. Since remote events need to be accessed by the client and the server, and replicated storage could be accessed by the client and the server, this would be the best place to put them. But you can also put them inside whatever part you need. If you wanted to fire something from a local script and you need the remote event to be in there, you can put it in there. So to start off, I'm going to put a remote event inside of replicated storage, and I'm going to name it my event. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a screen GUI, and I'm going to make a little button. Now what I want this to do, this will basically fire the event. So I'm just going to name this fire, and I'm going to hit text scale to true. So basically a remote event sends data between the client and the server, and this can be done vice versa. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside the text button and create a local script, and I'm going to get my event by doing local replicated storage equal gain get service replicated storage, and local my event equal replicated storage.my event. Okay, so there's two properties for the local script, and that's on client event and my event colon fire server. So basically fire server is one line, but my event dot on client event needs to be able to connect to a function. So I'm just going to do function right here. So since we can send data from the server to here, we might be past parameters, but we don't know those yet. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go into server script service, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to copy this at the top, and I'm going to get my event. So what I'm going to do is my event on server event connect function. Okay, so what we're going to do is when we fire the event from the client, that is called an on server event. So we're just going to print fired from client. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get when the button was clicked, and then I'm going to fire the server. So basically this fires it on the server, and then this will receive it. So if we hit play, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press this, and we can see that it says fired from client. So it is receiving it. We're doing something on the client, and the server is able to get it. So now we want to pass some parameters from it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to send them a little message. So I'm going to send hello, my name is LuxyDev, like that. And what I'm also going to send them is the number 45. So I'm sending it two parameters here. So inside here, you'll be like, okay, I'll just do message and the number that they sent. Since it's like a function, you're calling the function and you're sending two parameters. So this will receive two parameters, but that's not true. When you receive something on the server only, there's another parameter that always gets sent, and that's the player. You always have to include the player as the first parameter, and then you can add your parameters afterwards. So we first send the message, which is this right here, and then we send a number, which is this number, and then the client will automatically send the player who sent it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do player.name as sent the message, and then I'm going to do the message and the number, then I do the number. So what we're going to do, oh, I need to make sure this is end. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is it will get the player's name, and then the parameter that we sent, which is the message, and another parameter that is the number. So number, if you have two parameters, just add one more, which is the player. The player will always be sent as the first parameter. Don't get it mixed up and do this. It doesn't work like that. The player is always the first parameter, and then you can do your parameters afterwards. So I'm going to hit play, and if I click fire, we can see that it says LuxyDev, which is our player. I forgot to add a space there, but has sent the message, hello, my name is LuxyDev, and the number is 45. So we just sent data from the client to the server. Now you're probably wondering how to do it the other way around. So what we're going to do now is on the server, my event, and we're going to type in fire. So there's two things you can do. You can fire it for just one player, which is fire client, or you can fire it for every single player in the game, which is fire all clients. These are basically the exact same, except the one is for one client or one player, and one is for all clients. They both send parameters like a function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire all the clients, and I'm going to say, I'm actually going to put this inside when we received. So when we receive the event, we're going to fire all clients back, and we're just going to say, hello clients, I received it. And then we're also going to send them their name. There we go. So when we fire the event from the client, which by using fire server, then the server will receive it, and we're going to fire every single client in the game with the parameters, hello client, I received it, and then the player, whoever sent it. So instead here, I can do my event on server on client event connect function, and this time it doesn't pass in the player parameter. Since the server is sending it and not a player, we can just do the arguments, which is the message. We only have one argument here, so I'm just going to type in the message, and then I'm going to print the message. So it's going to send it to the server, and then the server will send it back. Quick fire, and there we go. Hello client, I received it. Let's see diff. Okay, so that works. What we're also going to do is, what if you don't want every player in the game to see something? What if you only want to fire something for one client? Well, we just do fire client and then the player object, not the player's name, not like that. The player's object, the player object. So basically, the first parameter, you can just re-input it here, and then we'll send them, let's say, hello again, like that. And then we'll go back, and we're going to print the message. So this time, we'll only fire for this player. I'm going to hit play, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click it, and you see it'll only fire for me. You can't really tell this, but if you went into the server with multiple people, it'll only be fired to me. So that's basically all it is. I'll go over it one more time. You can fire it. So if you're in a local script, you can do fire server, which will fire the server, and you can give any parameters you want. And then you can also do on client event, which is when it receives something from the server, and then you can put in your parameters. Then on the server, you can use on server event and connect it to a function, and it will give you the player who sent it, whoever fired the event, and whatever parameters you had that you sent it. Next, there's fire client, where you fire something for a specific player and you give them parameters. Or you can do fire all clients, which fires something for every single player. So that's remote events, basically sending data between two different things, basically sending data between a server and a client. Basically, it's basically calling a function. So you can imagine it like that. Next is bindable events. These ones, they actually confused me for a while, and I never used them really. So basically, they're the same thing, but they send data between client to client and server to server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create server script service, and I'm going to get replicated storage again. And then I'm going to get the event. Remember, this is a bindable event this time. They kind of look the same, except the one has a little white dot. And what we're going to do is, how do you fire this? This is basically the same thing, but it just sends data between server and server and client to client. So I'm actually just basically, how you do this is you just do fire. That's it. You don't do, this will fire for everything. So this will fire it, and then anything that's listening to it will get it. So we're going to send it some parameters. We're going to say server 1 has fired it, and we'll send it the number 45 again. So we're just giving it 2 parameters. It's basically calling a function and giving it parameters. So from the server, remember this is a server. It's the same between the server and the client. So we're going to make another server script inside the workspace this time, and this will receive it. So I'm just going to get my event. We're going to do my event.event. So this will get fired whenever someone fires this right here. So if the client fires this, this isn't going to detect it, because these are both server. If we're firing it from a server, only a server will receive it. So we'll do connect function, and then we'll get the message and then the number, because those are the 2 parameters. Remember, it's basically a function. Give it 2 parameters, receive 2 parameters. And this doesn't return the player, since this is from the server. We're going to print the message and the number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little wait here. 3 seconds. If we hit play, we can see that it says server 1 has fired it. There we go. We just got the message and the number. That's basically how it works. It's the same on the client. It's not any different. We don't get the player who sent it. Basically, you just add a script, get replicated storage, do game local rep game get servers, replicate storage, and then we get our event. And I might have deleted it. Bindable event. You name it whatever you want, of course. So it's just event fire, and you give it parameters, and then it's event dot, and then the event, and then you can connect it to function and get your parameters. That's basically how it works. Sending data. Bindable events are data between client to client, server to server, and remote events are data from client to server and server to client. So that's all for this video, and it might be hard to understand, but just keep watching it and keep practicing on your own. I know it took me a while to understand, and it was actually really hard for me to understand. I kept putting in 2 parameters, so I would do something like this. So I'd fire it like this, fire server, and then I'd give it my parameters like this. I'll give it all my parameters, and then what I do is I do on client event, right? And then I do a function for it, and then I just put in my parameter, and then I would always receive the player. I'm like, but that's not what I sent it. I clearly sent it this message. Shouldn't this parameter be equal to this message? No, because it always sends the player parameter first. No matter if you put it in or not, it will always give you the player who sent it. That's really important for remote events. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, then make sure to like and subscribe, and comment any ideas you have below or stuff that you want to learn. I'll make a video about them. So I'll see you guys next one, and goodbye.